Obvious question is where does it leave the project? The project does need what's called a hybrid bill to get through Parliament, and on the evidence of this report by a cross-party committee of MPs, it hasn't got that support at the moment, because as you say, they come out against Hafren Power, the consortium, on practically every level. They say they haven't made a case on the environment, on the job losses, and crucially on the price difference with other forms of renewable energy.
What we've done is we've examined the issues around this whole area. We've examined this particular set of proposals, and what we've found is that currently they have not proven their case, either on financial grounds or on environmental ones. It would ultimately be for a minister to say yes or no, but our view is very clear: they have not yet proven their case.
Well, opponents of the scheme, of which there are many, have been quick to seize on this report, saying effectively this is the end of the scheme. North Somerset MP Liam Fox, for instance, has tweeted to say it's now dead in the water. Hafren Power, though, say they can answer all the committee's questions given time. This is not the end, just the end of the beginning.
The key line in their report is actually the first sentence of their conclusion, which is the Hafren Power proposal is unproven. Fine, we'll prove it. This is the project the nation needs. It's 5% of the UK's electricity supply. It's carbon friendly, 7 million tonnes of carbon saved. It saves all flooding, sea level rise and storm surge up to 7. Why would we want to do it? And it creates 30,000 jobs and a huge investment in the southwest.
Now, the report doesn't, of course, reject the idea of tidal power in itself. In fact, it says energy on this scale could be, quote, the knight in shining armour that the UK energy mix needs. It's just that on this basis, they say, they simply can't recommend this scheme in this form when less costly, less grandiose technology is available.
Bob in Westminster, thank you.
Now, we're often telling you about libraries that are under threat, so it's nice to be able to share some good news.
The monastic library at Downside Abbey near Bath will receive almost £900,000 from the National Lottery. Bob Cruz reports.
The monastic library at Downside Abbey in Somerset contains 450,000 items, books, manuscripts, periodicals. It's the largest such collection in the country. But for years they've been shut in here away from public view. Now, with the help of an £850,000 grant, the library will be opened up for everyone to enjoy.
Well, we were enormously grateful and overjoyed in receiving this money. Because we've regarded this building as a kind of sleeping giant for a very long time, and the sleeping giant, I hope, has been woken up by the Heritage Lottery Fund. We've always hoped that its collection would be for the wider world as well as for ourselves, and that's why it's built separated from the monastic buildings with access to the outside world. So in a sense, it's the fulfilment of the dream of those who built the library originally.
This 600-year-old Italian antiphonal, a sort of monk's hymn book, is impressive, but by no means the oldest item in the library. One book here is from the late 10th century, but modern books are being added all the time too, at the rate of about 7,500 a year. Just to give you a taste of some of the treasures that there are in this collection, this is a book of hours, effectively a diary of prayer for the year. And this one dates back to 1490 from the Burgundy region of France. Some of the pages are beautifully illustrated and embossed with gold, which really catches the light.
Every day there's a new discovery, and what appears very important, we suddenly find is less important than the object next to it, hidden treasures. So I think that's what makes it most exciting.
It'll be opened up to the public with exhibitions and by creating a digital library of rare books. But the first job is to repair the building itself and bring it up to modern standards to properly preserve this important collection. Bob Cruz, ITV News, Downside Abbey.
A quick reminder now of our main headline tonight. And a factory worker, his lover and her uncle have been jailed for life for the murder of Catherine Wells-Burr in Somerset. It's 6:15. The ITV News continues with the national and international stories at 6:30 tonight. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up, the government says claims it illegally used American intelligence to snoop on emails and phone calls are baseless. Plus, Gun salutes for the Duke of Edinburgh's 92nd birthday as Prince Edward visits him in hospital. We'll have details of how Britain will mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War. And call me the happy one, Jose Mourinho on his return to Chelsea. John Alistair Stewart and me for that and more at 6:30.
We'd all like to be called the happy one.
The happy one. You are, of course.
Yes, I try.
Now, groundbreaking ways of caring for children from around the region injured by scalds and burns will be championed by a new research centre which opened in the region today.
The Healing Foundation Centre has been given £1.5 million to investigate the latest treatments, as well as how best to deal with the mental and physical scars of such injuries. Richard Payne reports.
Like all toddlers, 11-month-old Ava is curious of the world around her. But recently that curiosity got the better of her when a cup of tea was left within reach.
Ava came along, went to take a drink out of it, not realising it was hot, and it tipped all down her chest and burnt her from her neck to her navel.
With her skin beginning to peel, she was referred to the specialist burns unit at Frenchay Hospital. Luckily, a frightening accident has a happy ending. This is the same injury today.
The first thing that went through my mind is she going to be scarred for life? Because, you know, it's a hard thing for a child to grow up to a young woman, want to wear a bikini, and if she's scarred on her chest, you know, it can cause insecurities. But thankfully, she's not going to be scarred, and we got the best possible help that we could have had from this hospital.
Work to look at the right treatment to prevent scarring will form part of the new unit at Frenchay. The Healing Foundation Centre will treat children from across the southwest while investigating the psychological effects of burns, which can last a lot longer than the physical scars. It's been part funded by the Welsh Assembly, and Simon Weston, badly burnt during the Falklands War, is the Foundation's lead ambassador.
With adults, you're a bit more robust. You're a bit more capable of dealing with things and responding to irrational responses to your disfigurement. But for children, they can be really cruel. What we have to do is to help children understand more, to be stronger about what's happened to them, and not to be ashamed about what's happened to them.
Frenchay deals with 2 cases of burns to children every day, although it's often the action of adults which causes the accidents. So promoting the prevention of burns is another aspect of the centre's work.
Another big problem we're going to look at is the problem of hair straighteners. A lot of young women are using hair straighteners now, and people don't realise just how hot they get. They can get up to 200 degrees centigrade and can take up to 20 minutes to cool down. So we're seeing a lot of toddlers who've picked up hair straighteners or trod on hair straighteners, and so we're looking at ways of working with manufacturers to try to reduce the risk of burn injury from them.
Reducing all risks while best treating the burns which do happen is something the centre will focus on, so children like Ava can enjoy the best possible care, even if they don't know it. Richard Payne, ITV News.
Bless her, hopefully blissfully unaware. Absolutely. On to sport now, and England's rugby union team made a winning start to their test series against Argentina, with more than half the starting team coming from West Country clubs.
Yes, Gloucester duo Billy Twelvetrees and Ben Morgan both crossed for tries in the 32-3 victory, with their Kingsholm teammate Freddie Burns kicking 12 points. And with 5 Bath players also involved, it was a good day for the region. Chris Spittles reports.
With many first-choice players on duty with the Lions in Australia or left at home to rest, this was a chance for England's West Country-dominated shadow squad to impress head coach Stuart Lancaster. Gloucester's Freddie Burns saw injury end his chances of making an impact in this year's Six Nations, but remains a realistic option for Lancaster at fly half. He kicked 2 early penalties to settle England's nerves. Fellow Cherry and White Billy Twelvetrees has become an established member of the team since making his debut in January, and linked up with another Kingsholm man, Ben Morgan, before touching down England's second try. Before half-time, the tourists had virtually secured victory, as Morgan took his chance to shine and powered over for the third try. The second half became disjointed. as England introduced 8 replacements. But Burns rounded off a successful day with a conversion, as the West Country contingent contributed to a comprehensive win. Chris Spittles, ITV News.
Well done. So, what did you do at the weekend? A gentle walk, perhaps a barbecue? It's about all I can manage when the weather's like this. But how about throwing yourself out of a plane?
Well, that is exactly what several soldiers terribly injured serving their country in Afghanistan did. And they set a new world record into the bargain. Kerry Swain has more. ITV News West Country is once again joining forces with the Daily Mirror to find the individual you think deserves to be crowned our local hero 2013.
Yes, we're looking for people who go the extra mile to be a real force for good in their neighbourhood. They could be volunteers or professionals who go way above and beyond the call of duty.
The award will form part of the Daily Mirror's Pride of Britain Awards, which will be screened here on ITV. Our local winner will attend the star-studded ceremony in London in October, when the overall local hero winner for the UK will be unveiled. Here's the programme's host, Carol Vorderman.
The ITV Local Hero Award is our way of saying thank you to that person who you know is really special. Someone who helps to change the little things that make a big difference, not just to you, but to others in your community. So, if the ITV Local Hero sounds like someone you know, go on. Why not nominate them? Don't they deserve it?
So if you know someone who deserves that unique recognition, you can nominate them by going to itv.com/Pride of Britain. That's all one word. You can also pick up a nomination form at Lidl stores. Full terms and conditions can be found at itv.com. Now, it was a beautiful weekend, but I'm afraid it may not last.
Live now to Kate Reeves, who's in Babbacombe near Torquay for us this evening. I'm glad I can see a railing behind you, Kate. You look very close to the edge there.
I'm safe, don't worry. Yeah, you're quite right. It's been a glorious couple of weeks. So good for the soul and a lifeline for so many businesses, particularly those that rely on tourism in the area. Now, the last year was such a washout in many ways, and since then, so many businesses have struggled. But the economic forecast for this year is looking a lot stronger, as Ken Goodwin has been finding out.
Last summer was a washout. Businesses and destinations which rely on good weather were badly hit. Fast forward to this year and there's a ray of hope. The Cheltenham Lido is run as a registered charity and needs all the customers it can get.
This time last year it was very damp. It wasn't the greatest start off to the season, so at this point last year our sales were down. But this year our season tickets are at the all-time highest point that we've ever had. So sales have been up for that, and more sales mean more employability for the local area and local lifeguards. So we're employing around 30 lifeguards on staff at the moment.
Well, the weather, it's absolutely perfect at the moment, isn't it? I know it goes a bit cloudy and all that, but absolutely great.
Oh, it's just nice to get outside and have the kids playing in the garden, and yeah, it's been lovely.
Go to the park, come here all day, it's great. And you like it too, don't you?
Does it have an effect on baby?
Yeah, he loved it.
The Cotswolds is one of those destinations that depends heavily on tourism. Places like this, the model village at Bourton-on-the-Water, rely on good weather. Last year, it was a disaster. This year, things are looking up. How weather dependent are you?
Very. Although you can see the village in all weathers, it's obviously so much more pleasant when the sun shines and people come to Bourton.
And how has it been so far this year?
May was fantastic. We had 2 really good bank holidays.
Last year's weather also hit many of the town's shops.
Quite dead. Nobody about because of the weather. Yes.
And how has it changed now?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's busy. Yes, it gives us a lot of bagging to do for the sweets because the shelves are always running out. Because it's been sunny at the weekends.
Whenever just last year, it was just horrendous rain the whole time. I brought a group of students over here and it was just torrential rain, so we just literally drove through, turned around and went back out. Whereas this year, of course, it's been great. We're able to come out here and enjoy the picnic, which we're just about to have.
But there are some people you can't convince.
It's damp, but good for the skin.
It wasn't tropical weather today, but it was still warm enough for a dip in the river to cool off. Ken Goodwin, ITV News, Gloucestershire.
Well, as lovely as the recent weather has been, we've got to have a little bit of rain sometimes, I'm afraid, if only to give the garden hose a rest. We have got rain on the way over the next couple of days, then it settles down towards the end of the week. But now let's take a look at the weather forecast and find out what's happening.